Is my weight gain emotional? Have you ever asked yourself this question? Or maybe you've never heard of the concept that emotions can affect your weight. I'm Dr. Meg Haworth, and I am a transpersonal psychologist and holistic nutritional chef. And I focus on helping women survivors of abuse and difficult childhoods to release the emotional energy that they hold in their bodies from their past experiences. And then I help them with their journey towards consciousness and awakening and healing these long-standing emotional patterns. And one of the things that I've seen quite a bit in my practice are women who have had issues with weight gain, and they really do equate it with the emotional response. And they'll tell me things like, I've tried everything over and over again. I've tried everything to try to release this weight, and I've had a really hard time with it. Or they'll go through the yo-yo dieting experience. It's something that, a lot of us go through as women and men. We go through that yo-yo dieting thing. But what I find is that a lot of times when you're holding on to weight that you can't seem to let go of, especially when you've tried all the different diets, the emotional component is very important to assess, to really look at, what in my experience might be, what could I be holding on to that could be creating this issue in my body that emotionally that could be contributing to it. Now, we do know about food addiction and emotional eating, and those things can definitely be a piece of the puzzle in terms of why you can't lose the weight. Like if you have an emotional addiction, it's you have an obsession with food or using food as a way to quell your emotions, because that's ultimately what you're doing it for. Quell the emotions. You don't want to feel the emotions, don't want to deal, or you don't know how to deal with the emotions in a way that could actually feel good and releasing to you. And maybe you've tried all different kinds of things to do that. And so I just want to actually share a few examples of clients that I've worked with to kind of give you an idea of what happens or how you can release the emotional weight from the body. So one particular client that I worked with, she was a survivor of sexual abuse, and it happened within her family. And she identified as a food addict. And she'd been through all kinds of Overeaters Anonymous and food addiction programs. She'd done all different types of things. And she'd done traditional psychotherapy for her sexual abuse history. But she had never done this spiritual psychotherapy or transpersonal psychology therapy like what I do with my clients. And so she worked with me, and I think we only did 8 sessions, maybe 8 or 12 sessions. I usually recommend about 3 months, especially with a sexual abuse history. So that's about 12 sessions. And what we did is we got to the anger that she was holding on to. And anger was an emotion that what I would refer to as a go-to emotion. So it was something that she regularly would spin in. And when we got to the anger and how that was connected to the abuse history, and also how it was playing out in her life, meaning the ways that she would get angry about things happening in the world, for instance, and would have an extreme amount of anger reaction towards that, really had a lot to do with the extreme anger that she was holding in the cells of her body, and why she was having such a hard time releasing the weight. And so when she did whole person integration technique with me, which is the emotional release technique that I created to help people release the emotional weight that they're holding onto, when she did that with me, she was able to let go of the weight, and she was also able to release the obsession. And she also released a lot of the triggers. This just sort of automatically happens using my work. She was able to release the triggers or the things that would trigger her into feeling really angry. So for instance, Facebook was one of the things where she would find herself getting really angry and making fiery comments and all of that. And she found that after she released the emotions that were held in her body through the work we did together, she was able to no longer be angry on Facebook. So she's just like, I don't care. I see it and other people comment and I just don't even need to comment anymore. So things like that can happen. And the big thing for her, because the obsession with food was the big deal, and that's the thing that got released. And so she was able to then release the weight. And she was able to feel better. She was able to get healthier. She was able to go out and exercise on her own, which she had also been really scared to do. And there were other things related to fear that were related to the original experience that she went through. So, so that's just one example. I had another woman, and I work a lot with women who are survivors of sexual abuse. I'm a survivor myself, and so the thing that helped me the most was the work that I do today, and that's transpersonal psychology or holistic or spiritual psychotherapy. And that helped me to release a lot of the weight of the negative emotional experiences and how I was holding them in my own body. So another example of a woman I worked with is she was so distraught from her sexual abuse history that she had a hard time getting out of bed at times. She'd go through periods where she'd get really triggered by things that were happening in the news or in the world and identified as empath and as sensitive. Just like I identify as an empath and a sensitive, and probably a lot of people that are listening to this video do as well, or that follow my work do. And so she identified as an empath, and she literally was curled up in bed crying, sad and scared, and just couldn't get the oomph to be able to get up and do things. She was also about 50 pounds overweight. And she had been in Overeaters Anonymous. She'd been in all different kinds of food addiction programs. And so when she started to work with me, we actually did the inner child therapy together. And I will be talking more about my inner child therapy, or I should say the inner child therapy that I am certified to do. I'll be talking more about that in another video. But so we did this inner child therapy together, and she was able to release the emotional weight from her history through the therapy. And then when she was able to do that, she was able to release the physical weight, because the emotional weight was creating the physical weight. And that was the thing that kept her in that yo-yo dieting place. It kept her in and out of these OA programs and different types of programs that she was using to try to help herself with her weight loss. Now, she was able to lose the weight, but she also was able to open her business, which is what she really wanted to do too, but she didn't have any energy available to her to open her business. And the best way I can put this is the way that Carolyn Mace talks about it, about energy dynamics. And if your energy is located in a past experience that you went through, or multiple past experiences that you went through, it will be very hard for you to be in present time with enough energy to carry out your life, with enough energy to run your biology. And I see this over and over and over again in my practice, like just validating the work of hers, of Carolyn Mace, that I studied 25 years ago. I see the validation in my work every day. So she would say to call your spirit back from these past experiences. And I would say it's a similar thing, is to release the energy from these past experiences that your energy system is holding. And thus your body's holding it, because your energy system, which I think is your nervous system, it's your electrical system of your body. It is your energy field and the energy that animates you. Your energy system, as she would say, is your spirit. And she even has a book called Anatomy of the Spirit that's really helpful. Your energy system is the most important part of you. It's the most overlooked part of you. And when you release the energy from your field, that emotional energy and the beliefs associated with the emotional energy, then you'll have more energy available for you in present time to be able to run your biology, to run your life, to be able to go out and create the business. And she's now created a very successful business, is doing very, very well with it. Incidentally, she's still having some ups and downs with her weight, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but the original emotional release that needed to be done for her to be able to have the energy to run her life and run her purpose in her life was the work that we did together. And so I have a bunch of other stories I could share with you, but they're very similar in that vein. I've seen people just even release like 5 pounds overnight after having realizations about how their abuse history has affected their bodies and the emotional weight that they're carrying. Now, you can also be carrying emotional weight for other people around you. If you are an empath and a sensitive, you probably are. And I'm talking about the negative emotional weight. So this is a really important topic, and if you feel like any of this resonates with you, and if you feel like you want help with this is something that I help my clients with, and I work with people all over the world via Zoom or on the phone. And I also certify coaches, therapists, healers, health practitioners in my whole person integration technique. And I do that in my online course and certification program called Evolving Intuition, Building Self-Trust for Life. Because without your intuition in place, it's very hard to do anything, any and everything. And you can develop your intuition. Everybody has an intuitive system, and any of us can develop our intuitive abilities and create a better life experience, because we are connecting then and expanding with the most important parts of ourselves. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments below. If you haven't already looked at my channel, please do. I have lots of videos here for you. You can hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications for future videos. And they come out almost every single Thursday. And you can go to my website also at meghaworth.com and learn more about the work that I do. And you can sign up for a free consultation with me. I would love to talk to you and see if maybe we'd be a good fit to work together. Or if not, then I have a huge referral source list of people that I can refer you to that might be a great fit for you. So it's just really important to get the help that you need to get well now. Thank you so much for listening to this video, and I hope this information will help you.